All right, there we go. Welcome to the Uprise podcast. We're recording on a Friday, November 22nd. It's a day after the Blazers lost to the Milwaukee Bucks, which I would say was the most enjoyable loss of the season. I'll go into why. I'll get Eric's takes on that as he wasn't on the postgame show last night. I'll also talk about the whole Twitter thing with me and Peeps and Plaid and Dan Sheldon and CJ McCollum. Ooh, excuse me. Messed up that intro with that. Anyway, we're scuffed right now, but this is the second time we had to record the intro, but we're gonna jump into today's podcast. Dude, what's wrong with me? I'm thrown for a loop right now. So first off, I just want your take on the game. I want to stop talking. I want to hear you talk. I want your takes on last night's game, what you thought of it. Was it enjoyable, like that type of thing?
I mean, it's never enjoyable when they lose, unless it's like the end of the season and there's draft pick compensation on the line. But I was kind of encouraged from what I saw. I was glad they got off to a really rough start. I think it was like 17-5 or something, and Milwaukee hadn't missed a shot yet. So I was glad they kind of rebounded from that and made it a game. I was pretty encouraged by the play of Scal. And, Trent gave him some nice minutes. CJ is coming out of his slump, I think, like you were talking about last night. I didn't think Melo played that bad. Trying to think who else did well. Simons didn't have a good game, but maybe his ankle was bothering him.
Trent?
Trent had a nice game. I was a little disappointed not to see him in the fourth quarter at all. I thought he kind of earned, much like Little's first game starting, he deserved to play the fourth quarter against Siakam, so I was a little disappointed that Stotts didn't reward Trent for having a good game in the fourth quarter. I'm a little I wish Bazemore would play more within himself. I think he'd be a really solid role player if he just accepted that he's not like a 20-point-a-game scorer and tried to act like he was better than he is, But I think he'd be really useful if he just played defense and, played within himself on the offense instead of trying to create so much. So that's a little frustrating. But other than that, I was pleased that they came back and battled. It sucks to have another loss on the schedule, but without Dame, I thought it was pretty encouraging that when Dame comes back, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, see, it was the most enjoyable loss that I can remember, honestly, because I mentally went in as if we already lost the game, considering who we had out, considering who we were playing, and that's a rare thing for me to do. If I had mentally accepted the loss, I had mentally been like, okay, right, we're 5-11. And even when we came back, even when we were within one, there's plays down the line where I was like, dang. But still, at the same time, it was like, if we get this win, then awesome, great, I'd be ecstatic. If not, you know what I mean? Our schedule lines up. I just mentally accepted the loss, and there were some good things within the game that made it fun. The fact that we were competitive with that lineup on the court against Milwaukee was a surprise to me. I thought we were going to lose by 30. So the fact that Scal played great, the fact that Trent played well, the fact that CJ had 37 and 10, the fact that Nasir Little had another night contributing, the fact that Melo had 18 points. It was as enjoyable of a loss as I can remember. So that's the thing, is I went on the postgame show last night. I was feeling pretty good considering it was a loss. Now we got to start winning though.
Yeah, exactly. Especially these next 4 games.
So let me answer a couple questions. We'll talk about that Cleveland Cavaliers game. We'll kind of preview that.
While you're reading those, so one more thing about Trent, I was glad to see that he, much like I was just talking about with Bazemore, he kind of just let the offense come to him instead of trying to force things like he normally does. And if he can take that step in his game, I think he can still be a useful player, especially since he seems to be doing a lot better on defense as well. So it's encouraging to see players grow like that. So I hope he case last night a little bit and get some more trade value too. But yeah, I like that he wasn't forcing a lot of shots last night.
Yeah. That was one of the things on my post game show was he was playing more under control than Ken Bazemore. His shot selection was better than Ken Bazemore, which is weird because like shot selection and the way that Trent plays has been an issue with me in the past. That's something that those issues weren't really there last night. He took good shots. He picked his spots well. He played good defense. Like, that was the type of basketball that I think could get Gary Trent Jr. in a NBA rotation. Meanwhile, Ken Bazemore's out here shooting pull-up contested threes in transition and driving with his head down right at a defender that he has no chance of scoring through, like that type of thing. And it's like, okay, who's the second-year player and who's the veteran here?
Right.
Yeah, man, Gary Trent Jr. was impressive to me. So as far as these questions, honest question, do you think Melo would be willing to accept if we let me restart on this. Austin Wag says, basically, would the NBA accept if we tried to sign Melo to another year contract, maybe 2? I know he is declining. Extension rules I'm not like too fresh on. That's, maybe a question for you.
I think we should worry about whether he's going to be on the team past January 7th or not.
Yeah, 100%. I was just kind of curious, like from a CBA standpoint.
I think someone on a non-guaranteed contract like that, you'd have to wait till the off season to sign him again. Yeah. But I mean, if he signs on, we go on a run, make the playoffs, do okay in the playoffs, and he wasn't like a major detractment from that or anything. Like if he was actually a part of that success, I could see him wanting to stay on since we gave him a chance when no one else would. You know?
Yeah. I don't expect him to be on the team next year. Honestly, that's just my honest opinion, but
yeah, probably not, but
yep. Also, Austin Wax says, kind of sad coach put Tolliver on Giannis late down the stretch beside Scow. Tolliver was back to play 30 minutes last night, and Nasir playing 17. I didn't understand that. People were like, oh, Tolliver did a good job on Giannis. I don't think Tolliver did a good job on Giannis. Giannis settled for jumpers, a lot of jumpers. That's what I noticed. Giannis is working on his shot, so in a game that they should win, he was kind of trying to get some jump shots to fall. That was kind of the vibe I got from it. And the help side defense on Giannis was actually like pretty solid. I don't think and Tolliver had a couple nice defensive possessions, but I don't think Tolliver played great defense or anything. And I was kind of surprised that he played 30 minutes again.
Well, what was driving me crazy was, so Tolliver was playing center a lot too. And what would happen was he was guarding, they had Melo on Brook Lopez, which is fine because Brook doesn't go inside that much. And then Tolliver, so he would back off and let Giannis shoot, which is what you should do. But then he wouldn't box him out. He would just go stand next to him, and then the rebound would come off. And that's like half of our offensive rebounds, and why Giannis had like 18 or 19 rebounds last night is because a lot of his shots come like far out or hit the back rim and come flying, or hit the front rim and come flying. And if Tolliver just boxed out, we would have gotten like half of those offensive rebounds, and he wouldn't have had as many points as he did, as many assists as he did, and that would have really solved things. So it's really frustrating when the other thing I noticed is like everyone just turns and goes towards the basket for defensive rebounds, and no one just stands. Like if they just stand there and box out their guy, there would be no one to get offensive rebounds.
My rec league team boxes out better than the Portland Trail Blazers. That's sad. Like a generic high school team boxes out better than the Portland Trail Blazers. That's because in high school, you still kind of focus on very basic things. And that's what boxing out is. It's a very basic skill. It's a very basic thing. So them not boxing out is kind of ridiculous to me. There
were a couple plays in the second half where the ball like bounced over all of their heads. There was like 4 or 5 people in the paint. And the ball literally like hit the floor twice before someone from the Bucks picked it up. It's like, man, that can't happen in an NBA game. Like
it's ridiculous, man. It's if I'm Terry Stotts, each practice, I'm yelling at these guys to box out. And if they don't box out, I'm making them run lines. I know that's kind of like not something you typically see in the NBA, but like I'm making it a huge point of emphasis that guys need to box out. And if guys don't box out, if I see one guy not boxing out, I'm calling him out. You know what I mean? Like, it needs to be
Yeah.
like hammered down, because a lot of the rebounds is not due to personnel, it's due to our failure to box out. Two of the biggest culprits of that, Mario Hezonja and Anthony Tolliver. These guys will close out on a shooter and then kind of like start walking past the shooter. The ball will come back to the shooter, or the shooter will crash the boards. And, you know, it's not just the guy guarding the shooter, it's pretty much everybody on the court. It's a lot of people on the court. There's multiple times where one guy, and there will be three Blazers around one opposing player, and they'll get a rebound. It was Etuan Moore last game, and there was a play with Sterling Brown like that in the Bucks game, and nobody's putting a body on him. You got to put a body on people. You got to box out. It's a very basic thing, and it was the most frustrating thing about last night's game is our failure to box out, man.
And to your point, then why only play Little, who's one of our best rebounders right now, 17 minutes, and like play Tolliver 30 minutes when he's not boxing out? You know, like someone needs to notice that kind of stuff during the game. I think not just after the game, but it's really frustrating that they can't seem to rebound. And we've talked about this in the past. Playing Little a little bit at small forward, like especially on a night like last night where we don't have Whiteside in the game, so we're a little smaller already. You start Tolliver at the center. Like, why not have Tolliver, Melo, and Little all in the game, so you have at least three power forward type rebounders instead of having, you know, two power forwards and then three small guards a lot of the time, or whatever lineup they were running.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. I mean, I like Nasir Little and Melo next to each other at the forward spots. That our rebounding would be a lot better with those two in the game compared to, like, I don't know. I hope we maybe experiment with a lineup of Little, Melo, and Whiteside in the front court. I think that would solve a lot of our rebounding issues. Little is a good defensive forward that can guard either forward spot, so you could hide Melo on the worst forward offensively. You could hide Melo's defense.
Sure.
You know, if it's a bad small forward, you could put him on the small forward, play Nasir Little on the power forward, or vice versa. And both Melo and Little are solid rebounders. That's the thing with Melo, is dude rebounds the ball well for his size, for his position. He rebounds a lot better than Tolliver and Hezonja. I think our rebounding issues would be, I don't think we'd have rebounding issues if we had those three guys in the front court, and I think they complement each other well. And this kind of goes into like another one of my points is Rodney Hood needs more shots.
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
so
he does.
you could get that lineup on the floor, that Little, Melo, Whiteside front court on the floor, by subbing Hood out early, and then subbing Hood back in with the bench so that he can get more shots. Because if he's playing with the bench unit, I think he's going to get more shots than 5 shots in 30 minutes, where he literally made all 5 shots last night, but only got 5 shots. And he's been super efficient, shooting over 50% from the field, shooting 50% from 3, and he's not getting enough shots. So I think that the way the rotation needs to work right now is you sub Rodney Hood out maybe 5 minutes into the game, 6 minutes into the game. Unless he's hot. If he's hot, then you keep him in, whatever. But most of the time, you know, you sub him out 5 minutes into the game. You bring in Nasir Little. You play Little, Melo, Whiteside for about 4 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. Like, you know, you keep the rest of the starters in. That lineup's going to rebound. Little and Melo complement each other. You know what I mean? Like that's a big lineup. And then you go to the bench. You maybe leave Little in. You slide him up to power forward. Then you bring Hood back in. And maybe you cut Bazemore's minutes. Maybe you run, like, you know, one of the guards, CJ or Dame, with Anthony, with Rodney Hood, with Little, and with Scal.
Well, like last night when Dame doesn't even play, all you have to do is have Hood start at the 2, or not even start, just have a lineup. I would have liked to see where CJ, Hood, Little, Melo, and Scal last night, or Whiteside if he's playing. Like, I think that would be fine. But yeah, I don't know. We just seem to only be able to play players at certain positions, and it's driving me crazy. Like, because Little can play the small forward, Hood can play either wing spot. Like, we don't have to pigeon them into certain roles and only keep them in those roles. You know, like you're saying, make the rotations different. Like try to like, especially when we're losing games. Like it'd be one thing if we were winning and he was just being super efficient on a low amount of shots, but we're not winning these games, so you need to find a way to get your most efficient players shooting.
I mean, it's
more.
just ridiculous that you got Bazemore taking 8 shots in 18 minutes and Rodney Hood taking 5 shots in 30 minutes. Bazemore's 1 for 8, Rodney Hood's 5 for 5. Like,
right.
That's an issue for me, man. That was one of the issues from last night's game, and it's kind of a positive thing because Rodney's killing it. You know what I mean? He just needs more opportunity.
It makes me think, like, say, just in some theoretical dream world, we got Malcolm Brogdon in the offseason. Like, he'd only be shooting that many times a game as Hood is, probably, you know? like, there's just not a lot of offense available for those guys.
Yeah.
And I wish there was. But, I mean, just off of, like, 3-point shots, off of kickouts, he should be getting more than 5 shots a game.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. It's strange how he'll just not. The thing is like he still keeps a rhythm, even though he'll go for long stretches without getting a shot, which I think is actually even more impressive, because he's a guy that has shown with volume that he can get hot, but the volume isn't really there. He'll go 10 minutes without shooting, and then he'll get his next shot, and he'll still knock it down. He'll still have, it's hard for players to go that long without a shot and then still be effective and still knock down shots because they lose their rhythm. Rodney Hood doesn't need a rhythm to knock down shots right now. Like the dude's shot is cash.
And he can get it off anytime, so it's not like he's too small and can only shoot if he's open or something like that. It's not like the Myers-Leonard thing where he has to have no defender within 5 feet to get a shot off, so you can't ever get him 20 shots in a game, you know what I mean?
And you know what's weird about it? We're force-feeding Melo. Like, force-feeding, like, him isolation touches, like, trying to get him in a position of strength. Why don't we do that for Rodney Hood? Rodney Hood is the most efficient player on the team right now. He is good in isolation. He's good, like, curling off of pin downs, like curling across the key, getting to that left-hand little hook floater shot. Why aren't we looking to put him in a position of strength? That's been one of my biggest complaints with Terry Stotts is we're not utilizing Rodney Hood as much as we should be. And the thing is, offense was great last night with him only shooting 5 shots. It's just looking forward with how efficient he's been, man. It's dude needs to get more shots. With his efficiency, he shouldn't, and the minutes he's playing, he shouldn't be getting 12 points per game. He should be getting 15, 16, 17 points per game.
And he's the kind of guy where if he hits one shot, like his emotional confidence level, you can see it just growing. And he just needs to see the ball go through the hoop, and then so you just give it to him until he misses, right?
Yeah.
That's what I would do. Just keep feeding him, like you said. Just isolate him if you're going to run isolation plays anyway. Just post him up and let him go to work, and then eventually he'll miss, and then you can go try something else. But when he's on, he's really hard to stop because he's got that high release point like an Aldridge has, where you can't really block it. And he's usually got the last few games have been a little different because Dame hasn't played, but usually he's got one of the worst defenders of the 3 between CJ and Dame and Hood. Hood usually has the worst of those 3 with a guy defending him. So we got to take advantage of those. Like you said, it's one of those things where a lot of coaches will run their offense around creating mismatches, and we only try to run our offense through what we want to do.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That's a perfect way to put it. So as far as chat asking about the CJ thing, we're going to get to that last. We're going to get to that after our over-under thing. So a little incentive for you guys to stick with us throughout this podcast. I saw somebody say, okay, what happened? Didn't know we played tonight. This is our podcast, not post-game show. We didn't play tonight. We play tomorrow in Cleveland. That's at 5 p.m. I want to preview that game a little bit, and then we'll get into our over-under thing, and then we'll get into that CJ tweet. So Cleveland tomorrow. I'm going to look up their injury report because I know they have some guys out. Have you seen anything as far as whether Dame or Whiteside might play? Because I haven't seen anything today.
Well, Dame said before the game yesterday that he was planning on being back for this game Saturday.
Okay, that's good.
So he should be good to go. Although I did hear that his back was still kind of ginger last night. So hopefully he's okay and ready to go.
Yeah, Rodney Hood had the same issue, back spasms, and he came back. It seemed like he came back before he was 100%, and he seems like he's gotten more comfortable. So it seems like he's been playing through it, and his back hasn't been bothering him. So hopefully Dame, if he comes back and isn't necessarily 100% comfortable, hopefully he can play through it and it will start to loosen up and start to, be fine. Probably shouldn't play him 39 minutes a game for that injury if he's still dealing with tightness, if he's still dealing with what even are back spasms? Because spasm, I don't know, is back tightness. You know what I mean? What exactly is back spasms?
Yeah, it's just like general soreness, I guess. It's one of those things where if I thought for a second that they would be tanking back spasms is like the perfect thing to say because like there's no way to like confirm that whenever you can just say your back hurts and I mean there's no real test to make sure you have back spasms, but yeah, obviously I know Dame would never just sit out on purpose. So yeah, it's just like your back like locks up sometimes and once again I'm not a doctor, but it's hard to shoot or run around and play in the NBA when your back is tight or sore.
Yeah, especially when you're Dame and you have to shoot a lot of pull-up threes like that. He twists into some pull-up threes, man, and if your back's tight and you can't like fully square up running into some of the pull-ups he likes to shoot, you're not going to shoot well. And I think we saw that with his three-point percentage, him missing a bunch of shots, him missing those pull-up threes before he missed games, while he was dealing with the back soreness. I think that was definitely affecting him. But if he plays, this should definitely be a game we win. Hopefully Whiteside plays as well. The most up-to-date injury report I have is from a couple of days ago. It's from Dark Webs. It's from the guy that posts the game threads on our forum. Because he posts an injury report, and we got Tristan Thompson is questionable for the Cavs. But also it said Tristan Thompson rest. So I don't understand what's up with that. Brandon Knight questionable. Brandon Knight's trash. I'm not worried about Brandon Knight. John Henson is doubtful with a hamstring injury. Dylan Windler is out. So if
Love missed a few games with a back injury too, but he was back on Wednesday, so I assume he's going to play. Although they do play tonight, so
okay,
you might be coming off of some players like Tristan Thompson. If they're already resting, they might not be playing in back-to-backs. Same with Kevin Love. Not sure.
I was about to check to see if he was playing tonight, but then that would spoil probably the score.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we can't look at the scores yet since I gotta get. It's my fault these podcasts are late. I want to get these back to 3 p.m. I gotta be better with the scheduling of these. I gotta get these a little bit earlier. Also, I saw questions about the mailbag. I'll probably record it after this, or I'll record it tonight and have it out tomorrow. I know you guys have been waiting for that. I just haven't really been like on top of things as I should, so I apologize for that. Also, we'll have Peeps and Plaids podcast up tonight, and they were involved in that CJ thing. It was kind of revolved around them, so we'll talk about that last. I'm not sure if they talk about it on their podcast. Have to watch to find out. But let's do our over-under first. How many games we got? We haven't seen the scores, so I know some games are probably in progress, but we haven't seen the scores, so we're betting blind.
We have 10 games tonight.
God, we had 11 on Wednesday.
Yeah. And then, so the way we did it last time, it worked pretty well. So the first 5 people to respond in chat will take the best 3 out of 5 for what team chat picks. And chat last time was 5-6 and is now 15-24 for the season. So pick it up.
Horrible.
Tori, you were 3 for 8 to fall back below one game below.
Feast or famine.
One game below 500 at 26-27, and I went 8-3, so I am now at 30-23. So I'm building a little bit above average. We talked about how I was average last week. Not anymore. I'm above average
Congrats.
now. So the first game of the night, we have Atlanta is in Detroit, and Detroit is 6.5-point favorites.
Atlanta. Atlanta played Milwaukee tough. That was one of the games that Milwaukee was like 11-point favorites, and this was a couple days ago, and Atlanta kept that under 10. Atlanta's been playing solid. Detroit's been playing poorly. So 6.5-point favorite for Detroit. I'm gonna roll with Atlanta for that.
Yeah, I've had a little system of picking against Detroit lately, and it's working well. So since they're Atlanta's getting 6.5, I'll take Atlanta as well.
All right, chat. Who we picking? Say it is a little bit behind, so we might go into the next game while you guys pick.
All right, the next game is Charlotte is in Washington, and Washington is 6-point favorites. For me, same kind of thing as the last game. Even though Washington's playing well, I think when you have a couple of bad teams, getting 6 points is fine. So I'll take Charlotte.
I'm taking Washington. I picked against Washington on Wednesday. Didn't work out for me. Washington's playing surprisingly well. Their offense is good. All right, we got 3 for Atlanta. So people rolling with Atlanta. Washington is playing well. Like that, their offense. Rui Hachimura has been great for him. Isaiah Thomas has kind of stepped up. I don't know if he's out. He might have been banged up. I don't know. I play a lot of 2K, so they might have been on 2K instead. Sometimes I get confused. I play my league and stuff, and injuries confuse me. But they've been playing well. Bradley Beal's been great. His playmaking has taken another leap. He's averaging like over 6 assists a game right now, if I'm not mistaken. Wish CJ could do the same thing, but maybe CJ would do the same thing if he's in Bradley Beal's position with his own team. I got right. Washington. So chat, we got 3 for Charlotte. Chat's rolling with Charlotte. What's our next game?
All right. Next game is Sacramento's in Brooklyn, and Brooklyn is favored by 1.5. Kyrie's still not playing, so I'm taking Sacramento.
Is De'Aaron Fox back?
I don't think Fox is back yet.
I'm gonna take Brooklyn. Okay. I bet against them on Wednesday, and it didn't work out for me. Kings without Fox, Nets without Kyrie. That kind of offsets a bit, so I'm a roll with Brooklyn. I'm gonna go against you. That's how I'm gonna catch up to you. You gonna be wrong. I'm gonna be right today.
Or be further behind me.
Yeah.
This spread of the next game seems a little low. Miami is 4.5-point favorites in Chicago, so I am taking Miami because they are red hot right
100%
now.
100% Miami. Okay, we got 1 for Sacramento, 2 for Brooklyn, 3 for Brooklyn. All right, we got Brooklyn.
Okay.
So yeah, 4 points. Miami. Yeah, definitely Miami.
All right, then the next game we have the Lakers are in OKC, and the Lakers are favored by 4.
That's it?
Yep.
I'm taking Lakers, man. Lakers have been playing well. I hate to see it. Their schedule has also been insanely easy. That's something to remember with the Lakers. Their schedule has been insanely easy. It's been like the opposite of us. I think they've had a lot of home games and a lot of like trash opponents. So I still think if things go right, we could pass them up, because I still think schedule is a big factor in a lot of records right now. And who knows if they end up banged up, if they lose one of those top 2 players, that team's not going to be good. So everybody's like buying into the Lakers hype, but I'm not.
I was wondering if in that game like Davis or LeBron weren't playing, but as far as everything I read, it looked like they were both playing. So
yeah, that's I mean, if one of them doesn't, then it's still OKC. So not the greatest. I'll take the 4-point spread.
All right, looks like they chat went with Miami and LA Lakers on that one. Next game, we have the ice cold San Antonio Spurs trying to keep us up with us in the tank race with Golden State. They're in Philadelphia tonight, and Philadelphia is 7.5-point favorites.
Who are you picking for that?
I am going. Philly's kind of killed me a few times lately, but I think they will get it done at home.
Josh Richardson isn't playing. That's something to remember.
Okay.
I'm going to take San Antonio, which I feel like could be really, really dumb, but 7.5 points is a lot. They're missing their best perimeter defender. So I don't know. San Antonio. I don't think San Antonio will win. They have been playing bad, but I think they might keep it close. So I'm taking San Antonio there.
Okay.
Jason Jensen, this is a lot of pressure. I need a weed break. Oh my god, bro.
Yeah, Chat needs to pick it up, man.
Well, like I said, if Chat beats both of us, we'll do some sort of cool giveaway for y'all. That's
All
your
right,
motivation. We'll give away like, I don't know, T-shirts or something. We'll give away like 5 T-shirts, 6 T-shirts. I don't know. We'll do something cool.
Here's the game we were talking about a little bit ago. Cleveland is in Dallas tonight, and Dallas is favored by 9.5.
I'm taking Dallas. I took Warriors on Wednesday to keep it close, and they were down like 30 after the first quarter.
We'll get to Golden State.
Nobody on Cleveland can cover Luka Doncic, who's playing absolutely amazing. He might be the MVP this year if Dallas is like a 4 seed, 5 seed. Yeah. We got 2 with Philly. I don't see any other votes, so we rolling with Philly. I gotta make sure to make the delay a little bit less. I forgot to do that. Like the latency.
So I have a weird feeling. Cleveland has gotten blown out the last few games, but I think Dallas, when you win a game by almost 50, you kind of think things are going a little better than they are. So I think Cleveland will keep it close. They'll still lose, but I'm hoping they keep it close and have to play everyone till the end.
Hey, you might be right.
Chat's rolling with Dallas.
Chat's rolling with the favorites.
Yep. All right. Pretty good game. We have Boston in Denver tonight, and Denver is 5-point favorites.
I took Houston against. I don't want to go against all my picks from Wednesday that burned me. I'm gonna take Boston because Boston's playing really well. 5 points I think is a little bit too much. I think that'll go down right to the wire. I'm picking against Denver again, even though it burned me when I picked Houston against them. Denver won by 10 on Wednesday. But I'm picking Boston with the 5 points.
I'm gonna take Denver because Boston's been on a long road trip now. It's getting towards the end of it, and playing in Denver is tough. And they played a lot of good teams on this road trip, so I think they're going to be waiting to get home, and Denver's going to have a nice victory tonight. All right, so as we wait, we got one for each so far. While we wait to see what chat picks, we have the always playing on our podcast Golden State Warriors are 16-point underdogs against the Utah Jazz tonight in Utah.
Points.
Yeah.
Wow. Who are you taking? I assume you're taking Golden State because that's a huge spread.
I'm gonna take the Warriors.
That's the biggest spread we've had.
I know. I think it ties the Houston one. Houston and Golden State was 16 as well.
I'm taking Utah. Screw it. I'll take the 16 points. I bet for the Golden State Warriors on Wednesday. It burned me. I'm taking the 16 points in Utah. Golden State sucks. We'll see. That's a tough spread though. 16 points is crazy big.
Yeah. All right, so we're not getting up to 5, so I'm just going to roll with chat picking Boston.
Yep, we getting 3 consistent votes.
Yeah. And then last game of the night, we have Houston at LA Clippers, and the Clippers are 5-point favorites.
I'm taking the Clippers in that game. You got Paul George and Kawhi both playing, I assume. That's the best. Both those guys are 2 of the best defenders to put on James Harden. Yep. You shut down James Harden, you shut down that team. You let Westbrook shoot.
I am going to take Houston.
Okay. We got a lot of different opinions on this, so this will either be really good or really bad for me.
not because of because I think you're right. They can both guard Harden well, but there's I just didn't think something wasn't quite right. They haven't had any practice time together. I'm talking about Kawhi.
Whoa.
They're going to take a few games to get acclimated with each other.
Yeah. Sorry for the internet stutter, by the way.
So,
but yeah, we had a chat picked Warriors.
okay. And then we have 2 Houston so far. I don't see any Clippers yet.
All right, I think we're rolling with Houston. So that wraps that up. That's 10 games. Yeah. It's just.
All right, we'll see how that goes.
You know what's interesting, man, is this week is like a lot different than like I think the week before and the week before that, because we had a lot of our podcasts like before games, and then this week has been like staggered. But
there's a lot of games.
Which one do you like more? Do you like having like Monday, Wednesday, Friday games where like our podcast is before a game, or do you like having it staggered like this?
Well, if they're staggered, it's kind of cool because we have like either a post-game show or a podcast every day to watch you on. But yeah, it's kind of fun previewing games too, but it's kind of fun to always also talk about other NBA stuff as well in these podcasts instead of always just previewing a game, you know?
For sure. But we're not talking about other NBA stuff in this podcast because the last thing we got to get to is Twitter. All right, so I'm gonna pull up the tweets. Let's see here. Basically, Dan Sheldon. I'll just straight quote it. I'll just straight quote it instead of trying to paraphrase it. Right. That'll be easiest. So this involved Peeps and Plaid, me, Dan Sheldon, CJ McCollum. Dan Sheldon tweeted, "How far does Carmelo Anthony have to catch up?" CJ McCollum said that Melo memorized 5 plays with the coaches this morning. And this was 3 days ago. This was the Pelicans game, the morning of the Pelicans game. Melo memorized 5 plays. And then Dan Sheldon said, "The Blazers have 100 plays plus counters." Now, first off, I think the important word there was counters. Okay, like the 100 plays thing is, they don't have 100 like plays. It's just like the way it was worded was kind of weird. But Peeps and Plaid tweeted, "Does not feel like the Trailblazers have 100 plus plays, or at least use 40% of said plays." Which CJ basically confirmed later. So Peeps and Plaid was right on that. But they tagged me and said, "Torrey Jones YT, please tell us you've seen this." And I responded to them. I said, "I have seen it, and I don't see it. Like I don't see them having 100 plays." Dan Sheldon tweeted back, said, "Bros, it's something that CJ said. He's got a Twitter handle. You can take it up with him." And Peeps and Plaid replied saying, "Nobody is questioning what CJ McCollum has told you, Dan." And then Peeps and Plaid went on to say, "We are discontent as fans with what appears to be a lack of offensive play calling diversity as of late." And by we, they meant like the two, Austin and Christian, which the 2 guys on that podcast. So they were saying like we, because that page represents those 2 guys. They weren't like trying to speak for the fans. But the way it was worded, a lot of fans thought they were trying to speak for the fans. Like, we are discontent as fans. They were referring to themselves, not all fans. But they got a lot of heat for that. I was defending them against a bunch of people giving them heat for that. They got a lot of attention on it. What is going on? Do you hear that? There's something going on upstairs. I don't know. So sorry for the background noise, but
you ever heard of elephants above you?
Dude, it sounds like it. Honestly, I don't know what is going on up there. But basically, so Peeps and Plaid tweeted that out. CJ McCollum quoted them and said, "If you can come to a home game, I will get you tickets, leave post-game passes, and tell you about our plays and why we can't run 40% of them right now." Which is...
See, to me, that implies that he's blaming the new guys, including Melo and Whiteside and those guys, for not running the offense or not being able to handle running the offense like they want to run it.
Yeah. I mean,
which is very ironic coming from CJ though.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised when I saw that tweet. I was like, okay, um, we'll see if he lives up on that promise. I don't think he will. But yeah, Peeves and Plaid basically said it doesn't seem like they use at least 40% of said plays. But the thing is with like the whole offensive system, the whole offensive play calling is like there's been things that I feel like our offensive structure is missing that our offensive structure needs for the past few years. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily like
Yeah.
I get that they might not be able to run a couple of plays, but also the 100 plays plus counters thing. I think the important word there was counters because there's no way they have 100 plays. You know what I mean? Like you could have one play and just like guys can like decide to do something a little bit different and that's a counter. You know what I mean? Like guy can come up for a handoff. That's one counter, and the big might not hand him off the ball. That's another counter. And then, a guy can like instead of coming up for the handoff, he can like fake up for the handoff and then back cut. That's another counter. You know what I mean? So it's like little things like that, which is weird. Like the way it was said, 100 plays plus counters. Like,
Right, because if you would say like, because what you saying makes sense if it was 100 plays including counters, but when you say plus counters, that kind of makes it seem like you have 100 plays, and then off of those 100 plays, you have different variances and counters you can run. Which there's no way that's true. I don't care if CJ said it or not. There's no way they have 100 different plays.
no
Like,
offensive. No NBA
no,
team has.
no
Yeah, no
basketball team.
NBA team has
Right.
100 plays.
Yeah. You might have like, 10 to 15 plays, and then you have, like you were saying, 10 different things you can run out of each of those plays, then that adds up to 100 plus plays. But there's no way you have like 15 different sets, let alone 100 of them.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. CJ McCollum's response was a little surprising. I don't know. It was. I don't know. I felt like there's a little like annoyance behind it, but it's like they said doesn't seem like we run 40% of their plays, and CJ McCollum was like, I could tell you in person about why we can't run 40% of our plays, and it's like, I mean, like we get it, you got some new guys. Melo's new, like we get that, you might not be able to throw the entire playbook in there, but
This is something we've hit home with all the people who say it takes a while to get acclimated to new players. You've been saying these same things I've known you for a couple of years now. You've been saying these things since I met you about the offense and stuff like that. It's not a 16-game sample size that we're talking about. We're talking about years of data. It's now Stott's 8th year on the team, or 7th or 8th year. So like we have all these years of data to show, and you had a really smart starting five with Dame and Wes, Batum, Aldridge, and Rolo for a couple of years, where those guys didn't really need to have a lot of sets. And other than Aldridge, those guys weren't really running a lot of ISO, and they're not ISO type players, so the offense flowed more freely.
What also helped is that like their main like ISO guy was Aldridge, and their main pick and roll guy was Lillard. It wasn't like the thing is like the main ISO guy right now is like it's guards. So like the guys who run pick and roll and the guys who ISO were the same guys. So it's like the same type of like, you're trying to attack off the dribble from the perimeter, where we played more inside out with Aldridge isolating and then like trying to draw a double, and then we made the right pass, and it was basic, but like it was a little bit more diverse in the way we kind of attacked, in the way we were attacking through guys. So
and that's one of the reasons why I wasn't too upset with signing Melo, is because he can be that kind of Aldridge type where you can get him the ball in the post, but he can also play the perimeter too, as he's knocked down pretty good percentage of his threes so far in 2 games. So hopefully that continues. But yeah, he's the kind of guy you can give to the post and get a bucket, unlike our other ISO guards,
But yeah, so like you said, 100%, me and you have had the same complaints with some of the actions that we're missing. I tweeted at CJ McCollum saying like, I feel like we're missing certain things from our offensive structure, and I felt that way the past couple of years, not just this year. He didn't respond to me. I got like 30 likes or something like that. I also got people trying to cloud me. It was interesting. Peeps and Plaid got a lot of heat for their tweet. I had to go to bat for them and try and explain, I mean, like they can defend themselves, but it was annoying because you don't speak for the fans, you don't speak for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're not trying to speak for you. They're speaking for themselves. They're like, the page is not like one person running the page. Like, if you're running a Twitter page by yourself, you would say like, oh, I feel this way. But if you're running a Twitter page for like a couple of people and you both feel the same way, you say, we feel this way. You know what I mean? That's how I meant it. You had all these people like trying to put them on blast, blah, blah. You had people in the reply saying, oh, give them to real fans who don't hate, as if somehow like saying that criticizing the team means you're not a real fan, or saying that it doesn't seem like they're running 40% of their plays and then the NBA player agrees with them, somehow they're not real fans because of that. Like, a lot of like, there's a group of Blazer fans that are a bit self-righteous. I feel like there's a group in every fan base, like a fan base like reflects a bunch of different types of people. But on Twitter, man, there's like a certain crowd where that follow like the NBA players, that follow like the big time media guys, where if they see some criticism or like their media guy or an NBA player like calls somebody out a little bit, they'll just attack. And Peace and Plaid got absolutely attacked for that, which I thought was ridiculous. The heat they got for that was
well, even after they said, we as in Austin and Christian, not we as in all the fans. We were speaking of the two of us. And then you still have people responding to that saying, you don't speak for us. Don't try to tell us how we feel. It's like, dude, shut up.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't...
Austin saying, why are these Blazers writers talking so much crap to the Portland YouTubers? I think they're getting annoyed, LOL. Hashtag no more brainwash. So one thing about the Portland media, so we have to rely on Woj basically to break any news about the Blazers. We do not have any kind of local media that breaks news or that even asks tough questions or gets to the bottom of things like why there's so much ISO ball, or like why, like, when was the last time Stotts got asked a tough question? Game 1 of the Golden State series when he didn't guard Steph Curry. And that was because in the playoffs, especially the Western Conference Finals, you have a whole group of national media there. And there's people, I think it was actually a Brazilian reporter or something that asked him that question.
Did you see how like defensive he got in that response too? Like, he's not used to being asked tough questions.
Oh, what happened when Houston double teamed him? He still scored 30.
Houston at least was in that series, right?
Yeah. But yeah, so like we don't have I forget there was so like in the fourth quarter of the Rockets game, we're down 20. It comes out later that Dame had back issues before the game, and you still put him back in the game when we have a game the next night, and then now he hasn't played the next 2 games. We don't have a lot of people who will be like, dude, why are you running this guy into the ground? Like, what's going on here? Like, why, if you knew his back hurt, why did you put him back in that game or whatever? Yeah. And we don't have anyone in the media that questions that. It's a little easier for us because we don't ever have to deal with him, I guess. Like, if we had to have a respectable rapport with him to talk to him after every game and stuff like that, it might be a little different. But I just wish there would be more people who got some tougher questions in. And there was a time Quick does it sometimes. He picks his spots, but I don't think Stotts likes Quick very much. No. But there was a time when CJ was struggling at the beginning of last year that Quick asked him what CJ does well when he's struggling or something, and Stotts was like, I'm not going to answer that question, like he does, where the appropriate response would have been like, CJ, even when he's missing shots, the defense still has to honor him being on the court, and so he's still a great weapon to have even as a decoy if he's not hitting shots, because like the defense still has to game plan for him whether he's making the shots or not. So there was answers he could have had that didn't throw CJ under the bus. But yeah, he just, by not answering the question, it seemed almost like, okay, so there's your answer. But like no one in Portland would ever follow up on that,
Yeah. I mean, that's been a complaint of mine for a while, is the media not asking those hard-hitting questions. They're not really asking what a lot of the fans are wondering after a game. It's a lot of kind of cookie cutter type stuff that gets the same answers that we've heard, the same cliche generic answers that we've heard game after game after game. So I don't watch the post game interviews anywhere near as much as I used to for that reason.
And you got so Isaac Ropp, who's a local radio guy here, got fired off a talking ball for having some like tweets of questioning the direction of the team or something like that. And so like Neil O'Shea, like personally, I think went out of his way to fire him, according to Rob, at least. I mean, we're not hearing the full side of the story, but so I respect all the guys on Rip City Radio, but like they can't really say anything bad knowing that what they say can be controlled and they could be out of a job if they're too harsh, because even though Blazers, the Olshey doesn't have anything to do with some of those programs, he absolutely has enough pull to get those guys off the air if he doesn't like what they're saying.
Yeah,
so.
it's just it's an interesting dynamic with the media and the Blazers and like Olshey, and it's a dynamic that I don't fully understand. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
We have a meet and greet with Brian Wheeler, and that might be one of the things that I ask him. That would be interesting to hear what he has to say on Isaac Ropp, because he's no longer employed by the team. I don't know if we could share it. We'd have I'm not going to share anything that he doesn't want us to share out of respect to Wheels and the whole meet and greet that's being set up. But he doesn't work for the team anymore, so I might, be able to get some insight on that, and try and get a better understanding of that whole dynamic. Because it's one that I want to know, like, because Wheeler probably knows whether or not why Isaac Ropp got fired or from talking ball. If it was because Olshey was controlling, I feel like Wheels would know that. So who knows if he'd disclose it, but.
I mean, I don't know this as a fact, but I've heard that Wheels wasn't necessarily wanting to be let go as a Blazer. It wasn't a mutual thing. Yeah. So maybe I don't think he's the type of guy who will spill a lot of that stuff, but maybe he's a little disgruntled based on getting
It'll be interesting,
basically
man.
fired.
It'll be interesting, man. Like I want some insight from the man himself, but as I said, I'm not going to share anything that I can't, but that's one of the guys to go to if you want insight on everything Blazers. That guy, you know what I mean? I did a meet and greet with him before, and it was enlightening to say the least. The first time I did the meet and greet, it was after Aldridge left, and a lot of stuff about what went on behind the scenes with Aldridge in that locker room, and it's part of the reason why I'm still like, I don't know if I'd even want Aldridge back. But that's another discussion for a different day. That whole Twitter thing, I hate the self-righteous people that are like, give him to a real fan, as if Peeps and Platt aren't real fans, you know what I mean? As if I'm not a real fan because I criticize aspects of the team, like, and they just attack, man. They attack, like, and it's annoying, man. What was annoying is that CJ liked a reply that said, "Shit, give him to a real fan," and CJ liked it. It's like, bro, you should come on, CJ. You should learn who your diehard supporters are. Because your diehard supporters are the ones that really want the team to win and are frustrated when they lose. And I had people try to tell me, a real fan doesn't care whether the team wins or loses and stuff like that. And I'm just like, what? Like that I've never heard that one before. It just got a lot of heat. It was this whole drama. Eric didn't even see it until I showed him. That's why we took a little bit of time to go live. Is he was looking at the Twitter thing because he didn't see it. You gotta get on Twitter more because you got good takes and you got good tweets. There's times where like he'll like have like a really good point and I'll be like, man, you gotta tweet this out, because he
I do need to do better at that.
Well, you didn't have a Twitter until what 3 months ago.
It was June, I think.
Because I told you, man, like you gotta get on Twitter because you got a lot of good takes, and a lot of times I have to tell you to tweet stuff out because trust me, man, people want to hear your takes. People want People want your live tweets during games too, just like me. But yeah, so he hadn't seen it until today, and that whole Twitter thing happened 3 days ago. I don't know if Peeps and Plaid will talk about that on their podcast. I think they filmed their podcast after that happened, so it'll be interesting if they did. I'll upload that tonight, so make sure to watch it. They recorded it a couple days ago, but who knows? You know what I mean? Like I want to hear them talk about it. So hopefully they talked about it on their podcast, and I'll get that up for you guys tonight. That'll be something interesting for you guys. So as far as the mailbag, I'll get that. I'll probably get that out tomorrow morning. There's no reason to rush tonight. I got the Peeps and Plaid podcast coming out tonight, and that'll be something like tomorrow that you guys can watch in the morning or before the Cavaliers game. I do wanna get more consistent with releasing mailbags. I do want to get a little bit more consistent with releasing, like, you know, a couple more quick hitters a week and that type of thing. I'll try and be more consistent for you guys, because your guys' support has been great. Your guys' like interaction, engagement with the channel has been great. So definitely want to do like the best I can to give you guys what you guys deserve. So Austin White, congrats on these higher up people watching your videos. A lot of them know both your names. Pretty fun. Yeah. What higher ups are you talking about? Who knows our names?
I think he's just talking about, like, you know, when people start to recognize that you're the anti-Stotts guy or whatever, like, at least they're paying attention to you.
But that's the thing, though, is I can't tell if it's because of, like, how much I tweet about it, or if people watch my videos. You know what I mean? Like, they might watch my videos, but I do tweet about a lot of things that I talk about, so it kind of makes it hard to know if people are, like, if higher-ups are, like, watching my videos, or if they're just seeing my tweets. So that's why, like, I don't know. I can't exactly tell. But Portland media, yeah, I don't know if they do, because I'm pretty outspoken on Twitter. That's the thing. If I wasn't outspoken on Twitter and I was getting people, like, saying this stuff to me, I'd be like, okay, they're watching my videos. But I'm so outspoken on Twitter. I'm very outspoken. I'm kind of bold. I'm brash, which I feel like is a good thing. It's an entertaining thing. You know what I mean? I'm not like offensive. You know what I mean? I'm confident in my opinion, and I make it known. So that's the thing. A lot of, like, Chad follows me on Twitter. Travis Demers follows me on Twitter. So I think it might be the tweets, actually. But hey, I'd like it, dude. That'd be really cool if I had Portland media watching my videos, especially if they enjoyed my videos, my content. Like the Melo breakdown, if you know what I mean. I thought that was a pretty good video. I want to get back to making more videos like that. Maybe working with you on, like, videos in the future. I don't know. Definitely we've done a lot of live stuff lately. Would be cool to get back to kind of the roots a little bit and do more videos. And that'll start with the mailbag and that type of thing. So Twitter fingers with the hang sign. What's up?
Eli Lennon saying, you guys remember laughing at my Mavs over Warriors over my 10. I don't see you laughing now. I picked the Mavs in that game too, so I wasn't giving you crap.
Yeah, I was laughing. Don't gotta rub it in, bro. I'm still doing better than Chat, right? Is Chat 500?
No, they're 9 games under 500.
So Chat's last, so I don't know how you.
Maybe he was calling out other Chat people because he wanted to pick Dallas, but everyone else took the Warriors.
Yeah.
Oh no, I took the Warriors too.
I don't remember. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not laughing because I got cooked on Wednesday. My over under picks got cooked. I'm glad that you guys enjoy that segment. That segment's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to, like, interact and get what you guys think on it. And this will be a fun running game throughout the year. Yeah, so and if you guys win, I'll do some, like, huge giveaway we'll do it through the playoffs. Actually, we'll do it through the playoffs. So I'll do some giveaway in, like, May or June.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that wraps up this podcast. I'm running out of steam here. I'm starting to. I'm at the point. I get to this point like almost every podcast where I start to blank and I'm like, okay, is there anything else I want to go over? Is there anything else left to say? And then my mind is blank and I kind of sit here and I stutter like So at that point, I think that it's time to wrap up the podcast. That's kind of my cue to go is when I start stuttering, not knowing what I'm trying to say. Lobakili, I probably said that super wrong, but I'm glad that you enjoy those player breakdown vids. Yeah, if you guys have content you guys want to see, just let me know. Tweet at me or something. Like, I'm willing to take suggestions because I've kind of like, other than like the mailbag that I'm supposed to make and other than that Carmelo video, I haven't really known like what type of videos you guys will want to see. So maybe a Rodney Hood needs more shots video, but like the thing is we cover it on the podcast too, so I don't know if I should like make a video just about how Rodney needs more shots or like maybe a weekly video what I would do with the rotation in the upcoming week. Maybe I could do something like that. I don't know. You have any ideas, Eric?
Well, as we get further into the college basketball season, and if the Blazers aren't picking it up, and it looks like we might be in the lottery, might be good to start focusing on some avenues to explore for prospects there.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Like maybe like once a week, do something like that, and maybe like, hell, man, if you wanted to do content in terms of like maybe on a prospect, that could be something we could do. I don't know. Just want to like make sure to keep things fresh more than just the live streams.
I hope we don't get to a point where we're watching like Tankathon every day website.
Oh, I know.
Seeing where the Blazers are. But,
hopefully we don't. But still, man, like I like covering the draft even if the Blazers aren't picking high. I like freshening up on prospects. I like watching college basketball, so maybe that's something cool we could do for you guys. But if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. You can go to the community tab and comment on the last post I made. I know it's asking for mailbag questions, but if you guys have suggestions for content, you can